Dina from Tarot with Dina. Welcome back to my channel. I've been in the last few weeks going through all of my decks and choosing out favorite cards from each suit. And today I'm covering the suit of Pentacles, and I'm going to go through Ace through 10, all of my decks, all of my favorite cards from the suit of Pentacles. So let's get started. Okay, so a lot of times aces are not the most interesting card in any suit. I didn't choose any that are just a hand in space with a pentacle in it. I did choose the Ace of Coins from the Kauai Tarot. It does have a hand, but it has a little doggy, and the pentacle is actually on a bone that's being offered to the doggy. So on this one, it's got little bunnies in the background too. So it's not just a disembodied hand. I don't know why aces are like that so often. This is the Oracle Tarot, and it's just bright and vibrant, and I really love the turquoise or teal color. So the Oracle Tarot has some keywords on each card. So for this one, it says new career moves, which sometimes people don't like to have the words on the cards because that might not always be what it means in a reading, but I don't mind it in this deck. So even though this is a really simple one that doesn't have a lot going on, it's still a bright, vibrant card. So the Ace of Pentacles in the Shadowscapes. There's a lot going on. Now this deck, it's watercolor and there's a lot of detail. Now with this deck, I have the app on my iPad and you can like zoom in and see it a lot better. So then when you lay it down on the table in the card form, you're seeing a lot more detail than you would have seen if you just had the card. So that is really helpful. But I just love the color scheme and the little lizards and the little pentacle here. This is a really pretty card. The Ace of Pentacles on the Soul Cat's Tarot. He's got like a little star on his forehead. This is such a beautiful cat. In this deck, the cats in the suits seem to be the same cat or breed of cat all the way through the suits, and the ones for Pentacles are such a beautiful breed. He's got a little pentacle on his collar. So a lot of times aces are not the most exciting, but that's probably why I only chose 4 of the aces.
Now you went through all 4 cards. Tell me why you picked these 4.
Because I had to pick some, and aces just don't do it for me.
There we go.
I don't even know. They're aces. This is what they are. Probably my 2 favorites are the Shadowscapes and the Soul Cats. But really, I mean, the little doggy looking at the bone, but I really do think this is a beautiful Ace of Pentacles from the Soul Cats. So I'm gonna say this is my favorite Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so you can tell that I like the 2 of Pentacles so much more than the aces, because now, I mean, I've just chosen an overload of 2 of Pentacles here. I did choose the Soul Cat's 2 of Pentacles because I just love this kitty. It's so beautiful, and you've got the pentacles hanging from the trees. This is a really beautiful deck. The whole thing is beautiful, but I just love this kitty. This 2 of Pentacles is from the Everyday Witch Tarot, and she's balancing on like a little teeter-totter or seesaw, and this kitty is about to disrupt everything. She's got the little infinity symbol and the coins. Very traditional in that way, but with the theme, you know, this deck has a lot of witches and pointy hats and brooms, striped stockings kind of thing, but I really like this one. This is the Robin Wood Tarot, and it's another really traditional, even more traditional than Everyday Witch. It's usually someone juggling or balancing, and this one, he's on a tightrope, and there's like a ship going by in the sky. You know, these are the most traditional ones that I chose. Well, the Modern Love also has the sort of infinity symbol, and someone doesn't look like she's juggling, but it looks like she's just kind of chilling, and then there's someone like water skiing or something in the background. What's this? Oh, this is actually like that's from his Bodirsky or something. I thought at first it was her cell phone, but it's actually connected to this. He's parasailing?
Parasurfing, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is like a parachute, but it doesn't take you up in the air.
I don't know why I thought her phone was like flying through the air. because it kind of matches her belt. Like, it looks like it belongs to her, but it does not. It is part of the background image. But I mean, I just think everything about this card is just really beautiful. I mean, everything from the color scheme to her hair, just everything. I think this is a really beautiful Two of Pentacles. The Two of Discs from Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot is probably my favorite card out of that entire deck. I really think this is beautiful. So it also has sort of like an infinity symbol going on, but it is an Ouroboros. So you have this snake with his own tail in his mouth. And I really, really think this is beautiful. If you're going to have a card that's pips, this is one of my favorites as far as that goes. So this is the Book of Shadows, So Below deck. And what you have going on here is this woman has this recipe in her hand and she is cooking something that presumably she's never made before, and that's why she's holding the recipe like that while she's cooking. She has a little invisible helper over here. I don't know if he's causing trouble with that measuring cup or if he's helping out. I mean, if you've ever just been in the kitchen and you're trying to get a meal prepared, she doesn't look stressed out, at least not yet. But I mean, when you get the sense of like juggling something, I mean, you have time, you have the process, you have all of these things to juggle. So I really relate, if you're going to be juggling something, the fact that she's trying to prepare, probably on a timeline, this new recipe that she hasn't made before, you know, needs to impress somebody with, or maybe it's a holiday or something, you know. I like that this deck has a lot of really relatable everyday scenes. The Two of Pentacles from the Oracle Tarot, it has the keywords here and it says cash flow. So it has just a woman. It's a very beautiful deck, a very simple image here with just a woman juggling her two coins with the keywords cash flow. The Two of Coins from the Everyday Enchantment. Now here you have this waiter coming to the table. The two coins are actually in this woman's hand, but the juggling part is, I mean, he's trying to make it through a crowded restaurant. Someone's trying to beckon to him over here. He's trying to not spill all this food while he's bringing it to the table. So this gives a real sense of the juggling sense of how am I going to manage this and not drop everything, and everybody wants something from him and it's busy and crowded. And with this deck, a lot of times I'm like, well, you can almost hear what it sounds like. It's one of the only decks that I've ever thought that I could hear what the scenes sound like. So this is, I wanted to say, so this is very vivid for me, but it seems like I say that every time. I'm like, so this is vivid and that's vivid, but I can understand what he's feeling. I've never been a waiter because I don't think I could handle the pressure. I think I would be even more stressed out than he is.
Bring me that plate of fruit.
What is this? It looks
calamari.
Eyeballs. Oh, is it calamari? Because I thought that was like slices. I don't do a lot of seafood. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what that is. It doesn't look very appetizing, but they are at the beach, and I'm not really a seafood person. I don't know. The fruit looks a little more appetizing. The Two of Earth from the Gaian Tarot is probably like the most relatable. Like, this guy is trying to grocery shop and he has two very small children. This one's sort of not looking real happy, but this one's really not looking happy. And if you've ever been to a grocery store with small children, I mean, talk about juggling. He's just trying to get some food, and you don't even have to have been the person who had the children at the store. Like, honestly, if you've ever shopped at a grocery store and someone has children there, you get a real sense of what this guy is going through, just trying to get his vegetables. And I must really like the Two of Pentacles because I have so many that I'm like, oh, I love all of these, they're all my favorites or whatever. But really, from the guy in, like, from the moment I saw this card, I was just like, that is the most relatable card, just because my children were little. Going to the grocery store was just an event. So the Two of Earth from the Gaian is my favorite out of all of the Two of Pentacles, although this one's beautiful. I mean, there's so many of them are beautiful, but this one, I mean, I've been there. The Three of Pentacles, a lot of the ones I chose are not very traditional. The most traditional one I chose for Three of Pentacles is the Everyday Witch. So like in the Rider-Waite imagery, you have someone in a church and they're doing some work and some people have come over to watch. And this is very, very similar. She's making pentacles here and some people have come over to watch. It's very traditional, but with the little kitties and the pointy hat and all the things that make it part of the Everyday Witch Tarot. The other ones do take a little bit of a different approach. The Three of Pentacles from the Next World Tarot has keywords that say the team. So it has a bunch of people strategizing. I really like this one. I think it helped me understand with the traditional Three of Pentacles, I mean, you've got someone making something and some people watching, and sometimes it doesn't really speak to me a whole lot. But by calling this one the team and having a whole bunch of people gathered around, you know, coming up with their strategies together and everything, it has like a little, it says points of unity. They've got their plans and everything. They're talking things over, and it really helped me understand the card itself a lot better. So the Three of Pentacles from the Pagan Tarot, I feel like I understood it more after understanding the one from the Next World Tarot, because now that I see the keywords team, then when I come to this one and I see that they're working together to raise energy, I understand the card even better when I think of it as like the teamwork card. This is the Three of Boons from the Forest of Enchantment, which is just an absolutely lovely deck. You've got like a little crow or raven writing something with a feather on these little pieces of paper. So there's some sort of spell work going on here, some sort of potion being made. I just love the fairy tale quality of all of the cards in this deck. I really love this one. And then the Three of Pentacles from the So Below deck. You've got these little gnomes. In each of the suits in this deck, there are like the elemental helpers, I guess, from that suit. So you have gnomes in Pentacles, and you have like sylphs, undines, salamanders. So that's why you have the little gnomes here. I don't think they're supposed to be visible. Usually they're like unseen helpers or something. But she's working on her canvas. So it is a lot more traditional as far as it's more similar to the Rider Waite than some of the other ones. I like to paint, and I like this one a lot. I do think though, as far as favorites, that, I mean, just the fact that this card helped me understand, like, I mean, I've been doing tarot for a lot of years, and I never even thought of like teamwork as what was going on in the Three of Pentacles. So the fact that this helped me understand what the card meant a lot better than I did before, I would say that the Next World Tarot is my favorite Three of Pentacles, even though it might not even be the most beautiful, or as far as like, this is very pretty, this is very pretty, but it just helped me understand why, like, here, this is a very pretty card, but I don't get the sense of teamwork that I do. You know, I guess I never really understood the card. There are some cards that you understand right away, and there are other cards that maybe you don't quite get for years and years, and then all of a sudden it just clicks, and this is the card that helped it click for me. The Four of Pentacles. I love the Four of Pentacles, and a lot of people do call it the miser card, and I mean, I just so much disagree. I think that there are times that you do need to hold on to your money, and that it's not wrong or miserly. These two are the most traditional as far as mimicking the Rider Waite. This is the Shadowland. This is the Shadowland Tarot, and you've got this little creature, and he's clutching his coins. This is the Palin Tarot, and you've also got someone holding their coin close to their heart. These two are the most traditional. You know, this is someone with 4 coins, and they're holding on to them. In the Shadowscapes, you have a dragon, and he's like sitting on his little pile of coins and holding them close. A lot of people do think of the character in the card as being sort of miserly, and you think of like dragons protecting their treasures. You know, I think the Shadowscapes is just a beautiful, beautiful deck. In the Druidcraft Tarot, which I have trimmed. So this deck has made appearances in the other suits, but now it doesn't have its borders anymore. But here you have, this man is locking away a chest that has 4 pentacles on it. So you see, and he also is like clutching his bag. I like the sense of like locking it away rather than like clasping it to your chest, but locking it away. And sometimes you do need to protect your resources. Like when you see this card, like suppose you were going to go on a, you know, shopping spree or a vacation or something. If you were to see this card, it could be telling you, you know, maybe don't overspend, maybe lock away some of your resources. You never know when you might need things later. I'm not saying that I'm miserly, because I'm not, but I'm just saying that like when people think of the person as being like covetous or greedy because they're clutching their coins, I mean, they only have 4 coins. Like if you're down to your last 4 coins, you're gonna want to hold on to those. This little kitty and the soul cats. I just think this is so beautiful. There's got dandelions, or I don't know if they're dandelions, but they're floating in the wind behind him. He's got his paws. He's got a little hedgehog trying to take one of his pentacles, and he's like, I am not sharing my pentacles with this little hedgehog. I just think I just love the soul cats. It's such a beautiful deck. This is the Naked Heart Tarot, which is not one that I connect with very very much. It doesn't have people in it. It's an animal deck, very minimalistic, a lot of white space. But I really, really like this Four of Pentacles because it has a squirrel. And when you think of squirrels, you even have the word like squirreling away. Like when I think of like putting your money away for later, I think of like a squirrel. Like sometimes they don't even know where they put their nuts, but they are hiding all of their nuts. So I really like that it's a squirrel. It's one of the most relatable cards out of a deck. Again, there's all these animals and I don't relate to it a lot, but I like the squirrel for the Four of Pentacles. Then the Four of Pentacles in the Pagan Tarot. I mean, I like that this is a grocery store scene. I think we've all gone grocery shopping and we can relate. I don't usually read the book for decks, but for this one I did read the book and I didn't agree with the author. So, I mean, she thought that this is someone who is buying way more than she needs and that she even said the word hoarding, which when I look at the card, I mean, I shopped for 4 people and that doesn't look like too much food for me. When I look at the card, I don't see it as someone who's hoarding and stocking up on too much. Because honestly, I mean, I have sons and we go through a lot more food than you think in a week. So it doesn't look like she's overbuying to me. But when I see the Four of Pentacles on a card that's in a grocery store, what I think is groceries are expensive. And I think of it as like having to manage your resources because I mean, groceries, and it's sort of like an open-ended expense. Like if you don't have a budget and you don't have a list, you could easily spend a lot more than you intended. So this is one of the rare times that I've read the guidebook, and I do disagree with the author. I don't see her overbuying and hoarding. I see her managing her resources wisely. And this is the Four of Pentacles from the So Below Tarot, and it's another kitchen scene. You've got like a pot on the stove here, but she's standing at her pantry and she has her little gnome helpers, and I see her like, I don't know if she's putting things away, like she's canning things now and putting them away for later, or if she's checking her supply to see how much is left. She's probably currently canning things because there is that pot on the stove. She's managing the supply in her pantry and seeing how much she needs, how much she has. And actually, I think the thing I like a lot about this card is that it reminds me of a book I had as a child where this woman, it was called But No Elephants. It was like a little child's picture book where this woman kept taking in all these animals, but she didn't want any elephants. And then lo and behold, she adopts an elephant and he just eats her entire pantry of food. I guess I like this one a lot. I'm going to say honestly, this is my favorite, not just because of the card itself, but just because it does remind me of a favorite children's book in the illustration. This is my favorite Four of Pentacles, although this is a close second. I like that they're both, very relatable as far as we all eat. And if you do have a family and not just yourself that you're getting food for, managing your coins is something that you can relate to. Now, the Five of Pentacles is basically nobody's favorite card. And this is a card of like poverty or loss or not having enough. So it's kind of crazy that I chose 10 of these ones. This is the Aleister Crowley Thoth Tarot, and it has the keyword worry. So even though it's a Pips card, just the color scheme and the keyword, you can really see what it means. Usually with Pips, you don't know what it means. It'll just have 5 of something, but sometimes they're very expressive, and this is one of the ones that is. This is the Palin Tarot. It shows these figures like sort of huddled together, sort of reminiscent of the figures on the Rider Waite that are clinging to each other. Like that they don't have anything else, but they do have each other, I guess. So that's not nothing. You can just see that there's a sense of like desolation and of just having each other and nothing else. The woman on the Five of Pentacles in the Green Witch Tarot doesn't even have a companion. She's just sitting under a tree. There's like a stone circle in the background. So on the Rider Waite, there's a church in the background, and here you have like a stone circle because it's a witchy themed tarot. But she has patches on her clothing. And this is a very pretty card. So the Five of Pentacles in the Shadowland Tarot, this kind of reminds me of an episode of We Bare Bears, because you have like sort of a Bigfoot and he's like looking over at this scene of children playing. So some people call it like the FOMO card, like fear of missing out. Like here he's looking at people having having a great time. It just reminds me so much of an episode of We Bare Bears. Like, this exact scene looks like a scene from that show, but just the Sasquatch over here, like, looking at basically something that he can't have, like a life that he can't have. He can't come out into the open and just hang out with these people and have a picnic in the park with his friends or whatever. It gives a real sense of the meaning of the card.
But in We Bare Bears, once Charlie got into his life, that guy never got out. And they were like, oh my God, please go out again.
Charlie was kind of annoying, but not my favorite character in the show. But the card reminds me a lot of him. The Terror of the Sweet Twilight. They are living in a van. This is a lot more fun. A lot of times the Five of Pentacles is not a fun card, but I mean, it's kind of like, it's got a whole aesthetic here. Living in your van might not be the most fun anyone's ever had, or it might be, you never know. But this card has a lot more optimism, I think, than a card representing poverty usually does. So even though they're living in their van, they do look, you know, happy and hopeful and optimistic. So it doesn't have that, like, really, they're not like, you know, looking sad or whatever. It's much more hopeful interpretation. The Five of Pentacles in the Oracle Tarot, the keywords say budget lessons. And this woman's holding her 5 coins and she has a little tear. So I feel like, you know, in the Four of Pentacles, you have someone holding on to their coins. In the 5, budget lessons could be like, maybe you didn't hold on to the coins when you were warned about it in the Four of Pentacles, and now, I mean, you're crying and down to your, you know, last 5 pennies here or whatever. The Five of Pentacles from the Wild Unknown. This is a very popular deck that I never really clicked with. As far as the imagery is a lot of black and white with just a little flash of color here or there. Very sparse, not something that I usually connect with because there's not a lot of people or body language or anything like that. But in this Five of Pentacles, you have like this rose and it's losing a petal, which is kind of like, reminds me of like Beauty and the Beast or something, you know. Even though it doesn't have people or body language to read, I do feel that it is very expressive. So it's one of the few cards that I've chosen from the Wild Unknown. In the Pagan Tarot, you have someone who is actually like standing in a welfare line. So she's like down at social services and needing to apply for assistance. This is like the extreme of a poverty card or down on your luck card. This guy looks like he's even like, he's probably not reaching into her purse, but I mean, if she even has any coins at all, it looks like he's about to take them. But I mean, just as far as signifying poverty or lack, I thought this was a really good illustration. The Five of Pentacles from the Soul Cats. My mom has always had cats, and you know, they when they get to the door and they make the little scratching with their hands. Like, this kitty is out in the snow and he's scratching on that door. And that's one of the saddest little Five of Pentacles ever, because the kitty wants to come in and it's snowing and he's cold. And this is just a really good depiction. It's very Rider Waite as far as someone being outside in the snow, but just the image of that kitty wanting to come in is just so indicative of this card. And then the Five of Pentacles from the Next World Tarot, the keyword says turmoil. You have this girl in her apartment and she's sitting on some boxes and she's looking out, and some of these businesses, there's a for sale sign. Like, even the businesses, like, there's poverty inside her home, but it's also like systemic in that the businesses themselves are going out of business, that this area maybe used to have a lot going on and now it doesn't anymore. And it just has her by the window. On this card, one of my sons looked at it and he was like, oh, does the Five of Pentacles mean poverty? So it's like, as soon as you look at the card, you don't have to know anything really about the tarot. When you look at the card, then you understand what the card means. So this one is just really, I'm gonna need a thesaurus, descriptive, illustrative. I mean, it's really understandable. You can really relate to the little girl. I mean, she's probably sitting on these boxes because her family could be packing up to move, whether they just can't afford to live there anymore. Maybe even they got evicted or something. And she has that sense of sadness. Like, I feel like out of all of the Five of Pentacles, I really like the Soul Cats, because you can just see the kitty wanting to get in and just really, it'll tug at your heartstrings if you like cats. But I mean, this one from the Next World Tarot just really, really illustrates illustrates like a scene. If you've ever lived in a city and seen those parts of town, you know, this used to be something and now everything is left, you know, then I think this is my favorite. As far as, no, the Five of Pentacles is never going to be anyone's favorite because, I mean, poverty and lack and everything, but as far as being an illustration of it, I do like the Next World Tarot. The Six of Pentacles, I just want to talk for a minute about the Rider-Waite because this is one of my absolute least favorite cards in the entire Rider-Waite Smith deck. You have these two people in rags. This guy has a bandage on his head. This guy it's been mended on his cloak here. And you've got this guy passing out some coins and he has his little scale. Like, I just hate this judgy guy and his stupid scale. And I know that it is a card that has a tendency to mean charity, but I just hate the judgmentalness of this guy with his scale deciding like who's worthy of his pennies or whatever. I just hate the high and mighty. I don't like this judgy guy with his stupid scale thinking that he knows who is deserving and who, I guess, like what can just suffer then or whatever. I just cannot stand this card in general. So most of these illustrations that I've chosen are very different from the traditional Rider-Waite. In the Paulina Tarot, you have a girl, she kind of like has a little bit of an Alice in Wonderland kind of vibe or whatever, but she is sharing something with these little animals, and this little bunny looks like he's brought something to share too. This one's kind of friendly and cheerful, and it doesn't have that sort of judgmentalness that I don't like in the Rider-Waite. It's just a cute illustration, and they look like it's a reciprocal kind of sharing relationship. The Six of Coins in the Tarot of the Divine is from a story called The Woman Who Is Kind to Insects, and it's an Inuit tale. Now this deck is just a beautifully illustrated deck that has a cohesive color scheme that unites the entire deck, but the tales are from all over the world. So they have a huge diversity of people and stories. So in this one, the woman was old and she had caught these insects in a jar that she was going to eat, but she decided to let them go because she was at the end of her life and she decided to let them live their life rather than eating them. So there's this whole story where like they gave her a gift back, which was actually she became youthful again in the story. So this is, she's giving and she needed the food because she was hungry, but she was giving in a more generous way, I have to say, than the Rider-Waite guy with the scales. Like she's really giving even when it hurts, and then she is getting something back. So it's again a more reciprocal kind of Six of Coins. So I really like this one a lot. The Six of Pentacles from the Book of Shadows So Below has a woman who is at like an outdoor fair. She has her purse with her. It could be like, it looks like a soup kitchen, but they're outdoors. So she's just walking down the street and she's confronted with somebody who is in need. And the little gnome in this card is sitting on the guy's shoulder. So the gnomes are helpers. There's some here by where they're passing out food too. So the help is going to the people who need it. And she's just, you know, confronted with the poverty and lack and need that's in her city here. And she's opening her purse. So I like that she's not coming from a judgmental like, well, let me decide who deserves help or whatever, but just opening her purse when she's confronted with someone's lack. The Six of Coins in the Everyday Enchantment, there's always a lot going on in this deck. That's probably why the pictures are so big, because there's a lot going on. I mean, there's the dog, there's a guy with a Santa hat, someone has a thing that says help, but you have this woman she has fur trimmed hat and scarf. I don't know if it's her scarf or her coat with the fur, but she's passing out coins. It's probably Christmas time, and you know, you always have those Salvation Army guys ringing their bell or whatever. People are asking for help and donations. Here you have like a homeless guy with his hat out or whatever. Everybody is coming to her, I guess, because she's rich and she's feeling generous this time of year. She does have, I think, a little bit of the judgmentalness of, like the guy with the scales, as far as, I don't know, for some reason the character in this card has a tendency to me to look very judgmental and very just, well, I mean, I'll decide whether you're worth help helping, which that's one thing is when you're doing tarot, you're going to have like your personal relationship. So a lot of people would be like, oh, the Six of Coins, it's the charity card, that's great. But you might not feel the same way about a card as what a lot of people do. So you might have your own interpretation. So for me, I have a tendency to see like a high and mightiness about the person who is choosing to give out charity. Like even here, the Six of Pentacles in the Pagan tarot. Again, this is one of the very few ones where I've actually read the guidebook, and it doesn't have a bad meaning at all. I mean, this is someone who is at a job interview and she's being offered the job, and it's even more money than she was asking for. So the card wasn't designed to show anything negative. It's a very positive card. However, I mean, the guy just kind of looks kind of judgy and creepy, and I just don't like him very much. I mean, I think in general, I don't love the Six of Pentacles. I do think that the Six of Pentacles from the Naked Heart Tarot is just a very beautiful card. Again, I don't usually use this deck because it's just animals, and I usually read body language when I'm reading a card, so there's not a lot for me to go on, but I really like the purple and blue and sort of the symmetry of it. So I just thought this was a beautiful Six of Pentacles, although I'm not sure I get a whole lot of meaning out of it. The Six of Pentacles from the Oracle Tarot, the keywords say unexpected help. So you have someone coming to someone's rescue, and they're both standing. They look like equals. No one's looking down on someone. It looks like someone who's coming to someone's help, but in a friendly way and not in a judgy way. I really like this one, and I really like the artwork in this deck. I like just the look of it. All of the cards are so beautiful, and this is no exception. The Six of Pentacles from the Next World Tarot has the keyword redistribution. So you have these boxes, they say disaster relief, first aid, emergency, first response. So you have people who are coming in like people do when there is a natural disaster. Like with the trees back here, it's making me think like a hurricane could be what the disaster was, but you have people who are coming through and helping out when people need it the most. As far as this card goes, I think this is the most beautiful as far as just art-wise. It's the prettiest, but I mean, I like that this Next World Tarot shows a situation, and these people they're not the guy with the scales, right? They're people who are coming in to help people because they want to, because they believe in it, because it's something that they stand for. They're helping out because that's the kind of people that they are, not so that they can feel like all high and mighty and, oh, I might deign to give you a few coins if I deem that you're worthy of them or whatever, but they're coming in because they really care about the situation, and they're here to help people who are suffering because they care about it and not because they want to feel like they're better than everyone else and that they do so much for everybody or whatever. So I do like that this card shows a scene, that tells a story, and that it's not, that it's not super judgy like this card can sometimes be. Although art-wise, I like the Oracle Tarot. I just like the picture in that one a lot. The Seven of Pentacles shows someone who has been working on something for a while, and it's almost time to harvest, but not quite. In the Robin Wood Seven of Pentacles, you have a guy resting on his tool and just looking. He's kind of got that Indiana Jones look about him, but he's kind of looking at his garden and just waiting. And he has sort of a calm, happy look on his face, but it's not a card where the harvest is in now. It's a card where it's almost time. So it's just that pause before you have your big reward. This is the Seven of Pentacles from the Modern Witch Tarot, and it's very Rider-Waite. The whole deck is very Rider-Waite, but with mostly women or college age girls, and a lot of diversity racially, or not diversity gender wise, because there are a lot of like women or female presenting people, but a lot of racial diversity, not in this card in particular, but in the deck overall. She's got her watering can, and she's got her plants that she's been watering, and she's just taking a pause and looking at them. These ones as well, a lot of these are very typical Rider-Waite. You have the Seven of Coins from the Joie de Vivre, and these little gazelles or whatever just looking at the tree that has fruit on it. The Seven of Pentacles from the Shadowscapes Tarot. It's very, very beautiful illustration. I really love the artwork in this deck, but she's standing with her basket and sort of, stroking the tree here and just looking at the abundance that is going to be harvested soon. In the So Below deck, she has already started picking the apples. So you see a woman on a ladder, and she's sitting there, her eyes are closed, and she has her little gnome helpers, and she's filling up a basket with apples. The first fruits of the harvest are coming in or whatever. The Seven of Pentacles in the Everyday Witch, she's got her wine glass, she's got a book, the kitty's out here, she has all of these grapes, and she's checking to see if they're about ready to be harvested. So a lot of these are very traditional Rider-Waite style imagery. In the Pagan tarot and the Lightseer's tarot, they're both using energy, like physically channeling their energy. This guy in the Lightseer's is like sort of like, I don't know, giving Reiki to this little tree or something and helping it to grow. Reiki the tree.
Reiki. That's exactly what he's doing, actually.
Yes, that's what he's doing. He's giving some Reiki to the tree to help this grow. And likewise, in the Pagan tarot, it looks like she's doing some magic. And in the guidebook, it mentions that she is getting frustrated because the plant in front of her is not growing. So it doesn't seem like her magic is working. But in fact, the roses behind her are in full bloom. So it's like one of those things where she's not quite there yet. So the thing that she was trying to do doesn't look like it's working, but her magic is starting to work because the plants behind her are blooming. I just think this is a really beautiful card. For one thing, it reminds me of my grandparents' house and just the fence, the house, and the rose bushes. My grandparents grew flowers and they had rose bushes. So I just love the basically nostalgia value of it. Just looks like it could be right there in their yard. And I just think it's a very beautiful card. The Seven of Coins in the Everyday Enchantment has a woman who's like at a craft show, and she has all of these things that she's made, and someone is coming with the coins in their hand. She's sort of standing there taking a moment to think. So she's just set up, there's some shoppers in the background, she's about to have her payday or whatever, but she's put in all the work. Like, you can see all of the work that has already gone into it, and it's just about at the point where she's going to get the payday from it. So I really like this one. You can really understand, like, probably more relatable to some of the ones, like maybe we don't do a lot of farming. I don't do a lot of farming, so just looking out at the crops that are about to be harvested doesn't really say as much to me as someone who's done all of the crafts that they're about to sell, and just you can see the work that she's put in, and it's work that's probably more relatable to a lot of people than growing whatever he's growing over here. And I think my two favorites, I really love the beauty of the imagery. You like this one? You like the guy Reikiing.
Being a Reiki master myself, I'm a little biased.
You're like, this is obviously the best one. Are you blind? But I'm like, well, this is so pretty, and I just like how pretty it is. You might get the most out of that if you're a Reiki person.
Yeah, I get the most one out of that.
Yeah, you get the most out of that one. Meaning wise, I really like the Everyday Enchantment because I can see what the card means when I look at this illustration. Beauty wise, I think that the Pagan Tarot has my favorite imagery. So I'm gonna say it's a tie between these two. And also some people might really like the Lightseers and might really like this guy doing the Reiki. Some people might like that. I don't know who, but somebody. Eight of Pentacles. You can always see, like, some cards I like more than others. So for the aces, I'm like, well, there's only 4 that I like, and they're, you know, just kind of cute or whatever. Here, I'm like, well, there's 10, and I like all of them. So, you know, with the 8 in Pentacles, you have someone who has been practicing something for a while and perfecting their craft. The 8 of Pentacles in the Modern Witch Tarot has someone, I mean, I think we've all either been this person or seen someone like this person just sitting at their drafting table, drawing on their tablet, and they've drawn all of these pentacles, and they're drawing more. You know, it could even be the illustrator of the deck herself working on the deck. And this is very relatable. It's very Rider-Waite because that deck also shows someone making a whole bunch of pentacles, but it puts it in a modern setting that we can relate to. We have a few more that are also someone painting some pentacles. Oh my gosh, it's the Paulina. Edit that part out. In the yes. In the Paulina Tarot, I I love the artwork in this one. This is like, she's on her toes. She's like a ballet dancer too, not just a painter, but she's left-handed and she's painting pentacles. In the Soul Cats, you have a kitty cat painting. He's already painted 7 of the pentacles and he's just about to put his paw print on the 8th pentacle here. So it's interesting that you have artwork being 3 of them. In the So Below, you have a potter. So she's been making several pots, and I guess it's sort of a similar theme to the ones that are someone doing artwork, but it's just a different craft that she's working on. But it's, in this card, you have someone who is mastering their craft. You know, they've made a whole lot of something. They've put in the work and now they're really good at something. The 8 of Coins in the Kawaii Tarot has these little animals, and it's like, this reminded me of a play that I saw when I was a child called The Elves and the Shoemaker. It just looks like, this is like, you know, they're not elves, they're like cats and a little mouse, but they just look like that story where they're making the shoes while the shoemaker sleeps or whatever. The 8 of Pentacles in the Everyday Witch shows a witch with a whole bunch of potion bottles and a cauldron, and she is adding something to her cauldron. So the craft that she is working on is, I guess, witchcraft, and she has perfected the potion making. And she's got her little kitty, and she has a broom outside on her shop, like it looks like in a, you know, in a medieval village where you would have your sign would tell you, like, this is, there's a broom here too, that this is well, I guess if it was medieval times she would be like burned at the stake, but she's not being burned at the stake. She is selling her potions.
Dungeons and Dragons. So.
She kind of reminds me, like, whenever I see a potion person on the cards, they always remind me of Rosalie from Grimm. The 8 of Coins in the Tarot of the Divine. It shows.
Let me look this one up for you.
Yeah, it's the swans.
The 8 Swan
it's
Brothers.
Yeah. I don't know what the character's name is in this one. Like, I've read it in different books. Like, I read a novel.
Nope, not Crane Wife. That's not it. Dang it.
The Six Swan Brothers, something like that.
Yeah, there you go. 6 swans.
Six
swans.
Right. Germany, a German fairy tale. The 8 of Coins from the Tarot of the Divine depicts a story called The 6 Swan Brothers. And I've seen a whole lot of different interpretations of this story. There's a book by Starhawk that's a nonfiction book about magic, and it goes through the story and it like helps you develop your skills through the story itself. There's also a novel, I think it might be called Daughter of the Forest by Juliet. I will have to look her name up and put it on the screen. Daughter of the Forest. But it's a story where this girl's brothers have been turned into swans, and she has to keep quiet and pick nettles, which are making her bleed. And in the story, she has to make these shirts out of nettles, and if she can put them on the swans, they'll turn back into her human brothers. But she's not allowed to talk, so she has this whole thing where, like, she marries a guy who I guess likes a wife who can't talk. There's a lot in fairy tales really about women not having a voice or not being able to use their voice for some reason, but he marries her, and I guess he must like that she can't talk, but her mother-in-law does not like her, and her mother-in-law sets it up so it looks like she had a baby and killed it, and so people are angry with her, and then it happens again, and she can't speak up to defend herself, so she just keeps making these shirts out of nettles for her brothers, and she's about to be burned at the stake, and she's not quite done. So in the story, her brothers come back and she starts throwing the shirts on them before she gets burned at the stake, and one of the sleeves isn't done, so one of the brothers like never gets his human arm back, and he just keeps a swan arm, but she does turn them back into her brothers, and now she can talk and she can defend herself and she doesn't get burned at the stake. But this just really shows like a task that someone has been working hard at for a very long time and is very focused on. And I mean, one of the things that I related to right away about the card was that I have read so many different versions of the story that I knew right away what was being depicted in the card. In Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, the key word for the 8 of Pentacles is prudence. I'm not really sure why, and I'm not really an expert on this particular deck, but I do like some of the illustrations, and I like how you have this plant with the pentacles growing on it. I just think it's a really beautiful card, even though I don't read pips a lot because I don't really get a lot out of them, but it does give a mood or an energy to the card. In the Shadowscapes 8 of Pentacles, you have a spider, and the pentacles are in the web. So spiders have always been known for their skill in their craft of weaving. So this is just a very beautiful deck, and I just love the little spider with its web. I wouldn't like the spider in my home, but I like him on the card. The Eight of Pentacles from the Lightseers. Honestly, this is one of the most beautiful cards, I think, in that entire deck, and maybe in any deck, but I'm not sure I get the meaning of the card. So you have the phases of the moon, which could be time. I think is really beautiful. It could show how much time she's been putting into things, that it's been many moon cycles. But you've got some like magic things. So she's sitting in a chair and you have dishes with herbs or whatever. She has a candle. There's a candle here and a feather, like a quill to write with, some books or whatever. It could be like magical things. Maybe she's been doing spellcraft or whatever. Maybe she's done the spell work and she's sitting and waiting for it to manifest. I just think it's really beautiful with the colors. You've got the cool colors here and the warm colors here. And I really like the moon phases being the pentacles. I think it's beauty-wise, it's the most beautiful Eight of Pentacles like ever. But I'm not sure I get as much meaning out of it as I do out of something like the Tarot of the Divine or the Modern Witches Tarot, where you can see even the So Below Tarot, where she's been working on all of these pots. This one is the most physically just beautiful card, but some of these other ones really show the meaning a lot more. So in that way, I'm really having like a hard time knowing which one is my favorite one. I like all of them, but I don't know if I have a favorite.
Let me help. I'll pick your card. Let's see.
I like all of them. If I got more meaning out of this one, I would probably like it the best. I get the most meaning out of this one, but it's maybe not my favorite of the illustrations. You're like, let me choose. Oh, you're like cool. A kitty cat.
Because this cat's like, I'm almost done.
He's like, what? Yeah. When he's turning around and looking, he's just like, what? I mean, I do like this one a lot. I like all of them, but yeah, as far as favorites, that really expressive kitty there. Although, again, this one, if I just got more meaning from it, whereas with the kitty, I get a lot more meaning from seeing him, I guess. But this is so pretty. And this has a lot going on if you're familiar with the story. And that's the thing about the Tarot of the Divine, is that if you're familiar with the stories, you can get a lot out of the cards. And if you're not, then you're just like, I don't know what that was. The Nine of Pentacles is probably my absolute favorite card as far as the cards themselves, like what the cards mean. It's probably my favorite card in the entire tarot deck. The traditional depiction is a woman in her garden and she's just enjoying her prosperity. So this is the Paulina Tarot, and the illustrations in this are just so ornate. There's so much going on. I think the reason that she made the Joie de Vivre Tarot afterwards was because this was so, like, people complained that they couldn't see everything that's going on in the card, because there is so much going on and there's all these little, little danglies from the hat and all of these things. So it can look cluttered, but it's very pretty. And she does have a more simplified one, but actually she has a couple more decks that are, they're more simplified. Like this was her first deck and there's a lot of ornate stuff going on. It's got the bird. It's a very traditional Rider-Waite depiction of a woman in her garden with her bird and just enjoying her prosperity. The same thing with the Nine of Pentacles from the Everyday Witch. She's got her hat is off, her broom's under the chair, and she's just sitting back in her garden. She has some food, some wine, a book. She has her feet up. I mean, just really gives a sense of just abundance and just sitting back and enjoying your prosperity. And the Nine of Pentacles in the Pagan Tarot, it kind of has this 90s vibe that reminds me of like the original Charmed series. But it has a woman just sitting on the porch. This kitty is chasing a mouse. This kitty's looking on, and you've got all of her plants here that she's been growing. If you go back to like the Seven of Pentacles where she was trying to make the plants grow, like now here she is and the plants have grown and she's just sitting back with her lemonade or whatever on her porch, just enjoying her garden. I really like the Nine of Pentacles from the So Below Tarot because she looks like she is looking for someone. So the sun is setting and she has a table set up with a whole bunch of food on it, and now she's looking out, to see. In this one you get the sense that someone is arriving, that she is enjoying this moment of prosperity, but that also somebody is coming to share it with her. So I really like that it's not just someone enjoying their prosperity, and I do like that. I like just the sitting back and enjoying the abundance, but I love like that in this one, that she is sharing it, that she has this and she's waiting for someone to come over so that they can enjoy it with her. In the Oracle Tarot, I just love this illustration. I mean, the keywords say good fortune, and there's dollar signs coming off of her hat, there's coins on her dress, her shoes, her hat, her earring, her purse. It's just a beautiful, beautiful illustration. I just love this illustration. The Nine of Pentacles in the Modern Love Tarot. One of the things that I read in cards is the body language, and just the open body language with gesturing with her hands out and her eyes closed. You can just see the enjoyment, the happiness. And it does have all of these trees in bloom and the birds. So it has very traditional Rider-Waite depiction. It has the things that would be in the Rider-Waite card, but it's also just a very modern depiction as well. But I really, really love the expression on the woman's face, and you can just see how much she's really enjoying. Like, I mean, we say in this card, oh, it's someone enjoying their wealth, but you can see in her body language true enjoyment. So I really, really love this one. And then the Nine of Coins in the Everyday Enchantment, she's indoors and she has all of her fruits and, you know, a drink. She has cheese. She has coins in her purse. She has a whole bunch of money in her purse. She's got a cat and there's a bird outside. So it has like some flowers in the bird that are reminiscent of the Rider-Waite, but it's an indoor scene, and it's, you know, a very nice home with nice furniture, and she's sitting very proper, wearing jewelry. Like, she's not propped up like in the Everyday Witch where she's just sitting back reading with her feet up. This is a lot more formal, and she's in like a more formal room with formal attire, and just even when she's reading a book, she's not like sprawled everywhere, but it just gives a sense of like richness or abundance just in her body language, in her home, and all of those things. I think that it's hard to choose a favorite of this card because it just really is one of my favorites. I think my two favorite cards in all of tarot are the Nine of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups. Like, those are the things that I like. Abundance and happiness, right? I mean, I really, really love the body language and the happiness in this card. My two favorites, I really, really like that this one indicates that the abundance will be shared. But I think I really relate to the Nine of Pentacles and the Everyday Witch, just because, I mean, who would want to be sitting in their garden with their glass of wine and their book and just enjoying the bright sunny day and reading a book? So I think that I like this card in every deck, but I think the Everyday Witch is my favorite. So the Ten of Pentacles. So this is the fullness of pentacles. You have like pentacles, sometimes they're called coins, you know, their abundance, their wealth, your money or your assets, and they become completely full in the 10. So it's usually a card that depicts like the kind of wealth like that you would call generational wealth or a legacy. So it's not just like in the Nine of Pentacles you have someone enjoying their personal wealth that they've built, but in the 10 a lot of times you do see like intergenerational family. So you have like a grandfather with his child and their spouse and their children, dogs. This is the This Might Hurt tarot, and it's very reminiscent of the Rider-Waite Smith imagery, where you have the grandfather and just the whole dogs, the children and the parents, and it's very Rider-Waite, but also very modern and beautiful imagery. I like that the pentacles are lanterns here, but it just shows intergenerational, just generational wealth and just a sense of legacy. In Aleister Crowley's Thoth tarot, the keyword is wealth, and you have here the coins themselves are like in a Kabbalah like tree of life formation. That's one thing that's kind of missing in some of these other ones that I've chosen, is that usually you would see Kabbalistic references that a lot of the decks that I like don't end up having, but in this one I do like the little tree of life there. The keywords on the Oracle Tarot for the 10 are enjoying the outcome. So this is just a really, really beautiful image. She's sitting by a pool. She's got her glass of wine. It does almost look like it could have been a 9 of coins, because it doesn't show, you know, other people that she's sharing it with or anything. She's just out on a sunny day enjoying herself and enjoying her wealth, but it's just a very beautiful, beautiful card. The Ten of Pentacles in the Shadowscapes also doesn't show like an intergenerational. There's a castle in the background, which could be like sort of legacy or whatever, but this is a woman with a dragon. The Shadowscapes is a hard deck for me because it's a very beautiful deck and I love the art in the deck. I can see that it's very beautiful, but also I don't always get a meaning right away out of it. But I do just enjoy the imagery of the woman with her dragon just hanging out with all of her coins. And some of these other ones do have more of a sense of legacy or of sharing the wealth with your family. And a lot of them have dogs. A lot of them have dogs. In the So Below tarot, you have like an outdoor, a holiday at grandma's house or whatever. So grandma and grandpa have the food and they're bringing it to the table. The kids are playing with the dog. Mom's sitting here. There's like a ball. You know, this just reminds me a lot of taking my kids to their grandparents' house and their cousins will be there and my brother and his family, you know, everyone will be there just hanging out. Like you really get that sense of everybody just enjoying hanging out together and the grandparents enjoying that they're able to provide this feast for their entire family and just looking out on, you know, like you have children, then they get married, then they have kids. So now, you know, they have even more, like there's even more abundance. Like you raise a couple of children and then you have a whole household full of people, you know, that are visiting you on the holidays or whatever. So I really get like a sense of happiness and contentment from the So Below tarot. The Ten of Pentacles and the Everyday Witch it's kind of interesting because the characters that are depicted here are the court cards. So you have the King and Queen of Pentacles, you have the Knight and Page of Pentacles, but they're all a family and they're all sitting together. They have a dog and a little baby who's playing with a cat. I thought it was interesting that these characters also appear in the court cards. It's just a traditional depiction of a family and of all of their abundance and their home and, you know, their grapes and everything. The Ten of Boons in the Forest of Enchantment, I really, really like this card. So you've got this indoor scene, but it's like you're looking at it from the outdoors, like you're just about to come in. And in fact, this guy is sort of gesturing like to come forward. There's a doggy down here. But you have all these people like sitting at a long table, enjoying a meal. You have people dancing. You have someone playing music. Someone here is also like holding up their drink. It's very welcoming the way that these characters are looking. Basically, they're looking at you and someone's like welcoming you, like holding up a drink, someone's welcoming you, gesturing you to come in. This woman's smiling and looking very friendly. So it's like everyone's enjoying this abundance and they're welcoming you into it. So I really, really like just the friendly, happy feeling of this card. So the Ten of Pentacles, I mean, what's not to love in the Ten of Pentacles? Like in any tarot deck, you're going to love this card because who doesn't want, you know, a legacy and generational wealth? I think the Ten of Boons from Forest of Enchantment and the Ten of Pentacles from the So Below deck are my very favorites. I think art-wise that this is the more beautiful card, but I think just the feeling that this gives me of like just being a snapshot of taking your kids to visit your parents. I do like the So Below Ten of Pentacles the very best. The Ten of Boons from Forest of Enchantment is a very close second though. I really like the artwork on that and how friendly and welcoming it is. Okay, so my favorites of the suit of pentacles for all of my tarot decks. We have the Ace of Pentacles from the Soul Cats Tarot, the Two of Earth from the Gaian Tarot, Three of Pentacles from the Next World Tarot, Four of Pentacles from the Book of Shadows So Below, Five of Pentacles from Next World Tarot, Six of Pentacles from Next World Tarot. The Seven was a tie. The Seven of Pentacles from the Pagan Tarot and the Seven of Coins from the Everyday Enchantment. Or a three-way tie if you really like Reiki. So this was a hard one here. You're like, but the guy's doing Reiki. This man is doing Reiki.
Let me drink my practice, come on.
I'll just take this out. For me, it was a tie between these two. Even here, I'm like, well, it's probably this one. But then I'm like, no, but this one was a tie. The Eight of Pentacles from the Soul Cats Tarot, Nine of Pentacles from the Everyday Witch Tarot, and the Ten of Pentacles from the Book of Shadows So Below Tarot. So this has been my favorite pentacle cards from all of my tarot decks. So if you've made it this far, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining me. In the coming weeks, I'm going to be looking at things like the backs of the cards, extra cards. That'll just be a short little bonus video, and then I'm going to get into court cards and the major arcana, which is going to be big. I don't even know if that can be one video or if it's going to be two, but that's what I have coming up in the next few weeks. Deep dive. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell for notifications. I post new videos every Wednesday.